Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about something that's probably sitting in a fast food bag somewhere near you. Right now, or maybe you had some yesterday. French fries. Yeah, I know. They're delicious. They're crispy. They're salty. They're basically the perfect food, right? Wrong. And I'm not here to just guilt trip you. I actually want to show you what the science says, because when I dug into this, I was genuinely shocked at what French fries are actually doing to our bodies. Let's start with something pretty wild. There was this massive study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that followed over 4,000 people for 8 years. And what they found was that people who ate fried potatoes 2 to 3 times per week had more than double the risk of premature death, compared to people who didn't eat them at all. Double. That's not a small difference. And before you think, oh well, maybe those people were unhealthy anyway, the researchers controlled for that. They accounted for obesity, physical activity, all of it. The French fries themselves were the problem. Now you might be wondering, okay, but what's actually happening inside my body when I eat these things? Well, let's break it down. When you take a potato and plunge it into oil heated to around 350 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, something called the Maillard reaction happens. That's what gives fries that golden color and amazing smell. But here's the thing, at those high temperatures, something else forms too: acrylamide. And acrylamide is classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as a probable human carcinogen. That means it probably causes cancer. A study from Harvard found that foods cooked at high temperatures, especially starchy foods like potatoes, can contain acrylamide levels that are genuinely concerning. And the longer you cook them and the darker they get, the more acrylamide forms. Research from the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry showed that French fries can contain acrylamide levels up to 100 times higher than the maximum allowed in drinking water. Let that sink in for a second. But it gets worse. Let's talk about what that oil is doing. Most restaurants use oils that have been heated over and over again. Every time oil is reheated to high temperatures, it breaks down and forms trans fats and other toxic compounds. The European Heart Journal published research showing that consuming trans fats, which increases your risk of heart disease by 23% and your risk of death from heart disease by 34%. These aren't small numbers. And here's something most people don't know. When oil breaks down from repeated heating, it creates something called polar compounds. A study in Spain found that many restaurants were using oil with polar compound levels way above the safe limit. These compounds have been linked to high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, and liver disease. Basically, you're eating chemically altered toxic oil that your body has no idea what to do with. Now let's move on to what happens to your blood sugar. A medium serving of French fries has about 48 grams of carbohydrates, but these are refined, simple carbs that hit your bloodstream. Like a freight train, the glycemic index of French fries is around 75, which is really high. For reference, pure glucose is 100. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that foods with a high glycemic index are directly linked to increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. When your blood sugar spikes that quickly, your pancreas has to pump out massive amounts of insulin. Over time, if you're doing this regularly, your cells become resistant to insulin. That's literally how type 2 diabetes develops. The CDC reports that over 37 million Americans have diabetes, and another 96 million have prediabetes. French fries and foods like them are a huge part of this epidemic. If you're finding this information valuable, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And lets me know you want more content like this. Okay, so we've covered cancer-causing compounds, toxic oils, and blood sugar chaos. But let's talk about what French fries do to your brain. There was this study from the University of Montreal where they fed rats a diet high in trans fats and saturated fats. After just 8 weeks, these rats showed significant memory problems and increased anxiety. The researchers found actual physical changes in the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. In humans, research published in Neurology followed over 6,000 women and found that those who consumed the most saturated and trans fats had significantly worse cognitive function and memory over 4 years. Your brain literally functions worse when you're regularly eating foods like French fries. And this makes sense because your brain is almost 60% fat. The quality of fat you eat directly impacts your brain structure. Here's another problem. French fries are scientifically engineered to be addictive. That combination of fat, salt, and refined carbs hits the same pleasure centers in your brain as drugs do. A study from the Scripps Research Institute found that rats given high-fat, high-sugar foods showed the same brain changes as rats given cocaine. They literally became addicted. For humans, this means that once you start eating French fries, your brain wants more. It's not a willpower issue, it's biochemistry. Another thing that doesn't get talked about. Enough is what French fries do to your gut. Your digestive system has trillions of bacteria that help you digest food, produce vitamins, and regulate your mood. French fries have almost no fiber. A study in Nature found that diets high in processed foods and low in fiber dramatically reduce the diversity of gut bacteria. And when your gut diversity drops, your immune system weakens, inflammation increases, and your risk of diseases like obesity and depression all go up. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if I make them at home? What if I use an air fryer? Look, homemade versions are definitely better than fast food fries. Air fryers are even better because they use way less oil. But you're still eating a food that's going to spike your blood sugar. And if you're cooking them until they're brown, you're still creating acrylamide. It's just less bad, not actually good. The real issue is that we've normalized eating French fries. They come with almost every meal at restaurants. But just because something is normal doesn't mean it's okay. 100 years ago, French fries weren't a regular part of anyone's diet. Now the average American eats them multiple times per week. And we're seeing the consequences in rising rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So what's the alternative? If you're eating French fries regularly, like more than once a month, you're doing real damage to your body. The science is clear on this. If you want something crunchy and satisfying, roasted vegetables with olive oil and salt can actually hit that same spot. Sweet potato wedges baked in the oven are genuinely delicious. Or if you really want potatoes, boiled or steamed potatoes with herbs are actually a healthy food. The potato itself isn't the enemy. It's what we do to it. The bottom line is this French fries might taste amazing in the moment, but that moment of pleasure comes with a massive cost to your long-term health. You're trading a few minutes of satisfaction for increased risk of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, cognitive decline, and premature death. When you look at it that way, is it really worth it? If this video opened your eyes to what's really going on with French fries, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I'm breaking down the science behind all kinds of foods and health topics, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.